Welcome to my channel today. Today we're going to do a computer review on two reverse trikes. Neither one of these bikes have hit the market yet, so this is something that we have to review on the computer, and we're going to go over the two of them, and I'm going to try to tell you the difference between the two, and if it's something you're interested in, you can get on a pre-order because these bikes are available for pre-order, and they will be out, like I said, sometime next month. So let's get into it, guys. Alright guys, let's check out these two bikes now. So one is Addmotor and the other one is SixThreeZero. Manufacturers of these. Neither one of these bikes are currently out. They will be out next month, which will be May. Sometime during May, I don't know if beginning, middle, end, they're not saying, but May. So let's hope they get sent out in May. Let's look at the two bikes. They look very similar. But there's big differences in these two bikes. One of the big differences is the SixThreeZero. Actually does not have the ability to stand on its own. It can balance, but it's not something that you're going to sit on this thing and talk to your neighbor, you're going to fall over. So they put a kickstand on this bike for that fact. And the reason being that does that is because these front wheels actually will lean into the corners when you go into a corner. This thing is going to be much more like a conventional bike, and this one over here is going to act more like a trike. You're going to have to counter balance the bike when you go into corners. It does have negative camber on the wheels, but the front wheels are fixed and they do not turn in the corners. They turn, but they don't lean over in the corners like these ones do. The other thing about this bike is these have 16-inch wheels in the front, 20-inch on the back, and the tires are about a little over 2 inches wide. These have 16-inch wheels in the front, they're 3 inches wide, and it has a 16-inch wheel on the back with a 4-inch tire. So you're probably going to get a little more cushion out of this bike. This bike here with the smaller tires, you're not going to get as much cushion when you hit a bump in it. You can put suspension seat posts on both these bikes. This bike does not come with, this is the upgraded seat. It comes with just the bottom piece. You can buy this seat for another $100. This bike does come with this. These are both folding bikes, guys. They pivot right here on both bikes. So it'll fold in this way on both bikes. And the stem on these, it's telescoping on both of them, and they also fold down out of the way. So this bike can be folded up to put in your car. Do I think that's going to be easy? Heck no. You're dealing with something that's almost 3 feet wide on the front. This one is the same thing. This one is a little bit narrower than this one, but you're talking 3 feet on the front of these to start with. You're going to fold it around on the back. You're going to add another foot in there for this. So you're dealing with it, 3 tires that are approximately 4 feet wide. The thing's got to be another 4 feet, or well, maybe 3 feet this way or whatever. I don't think this thing's going to be easy to put in a car. I don't know what this one weighs, but I do know that this one weighs like 105 pounds. So you can lighten them up. You take the battery out, pull the seats out of both of them, and that's going to lighten them up a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be a picnic throwing one of these in a car, and I think it's going to be a two-man job. So for whatever that's worth. The other thing about these bikes is this is a rack that is welded to this frame. This one is a rack that's been bolted to the frame. So this one's probably going to hold between 30 and 50 pounds. And this one here, I don't know what it is, and I'm assuming it's over 50 pounds because it's welded to the frame, and I'm sure it's quite sturdy. This one has a basket that's available for more money that goes on the front. This one comes with the basket. It also comes with this rack on the bottom. I'm not too keen about this rack on the bottom, but it does unbolt, so I could take it off if I don't like it. Again, this is a seat that goes up and down, so you can bring this quite far up. This one is a telescoping seat. You can bring this one even farther up. These are telescoping. You can bring these up on both of them. This one here is, they don't limit the height of the person. This one, they're limiting the height to 5'9", which sounds a little strange. I'm 5'10". I would still buy this bike in a heartbeat because I'm not worried about it. The reason why they do that is this has a low stance Both of these have a low stance on them, so when you start pushing weight up, you get a 6-foot person, he's going to be way up here. This bike is going to be much tippier, where this one leans into the corners. You don't have to worry about this. You have to counterbalance this bike. This one you do not have to counterbalance. So there's a big difference in that. This one here, you know, if you're looking for a trike, say you've got a bad knees or something and you need something to support you. That's the whole reason why you're probably moving into a trike. I'm not ready to move into a trike, but I'm very excited about, you know, trying them and starting to use them. My wife has knee problems right now, so she's very much looking forward to using a trike. So again, I'm going to go out with her on the trike so we can enjoy our time together. So that's why I want a trike also. So, but I do not have a handicap. But a lot of people, you know, buy these because they are have some sort of something that's restricting them from riding a two-wheel bike. So in my opinion, even the owner of this bike says this is a transitional trike. So you're going from 2 wheels to 3 wheels, and you can transition on this one much easier because you're so used to riding on 2 wheels and leaning and so on and so forth, that this one's going to act the same. This one here is going to be a totally new way to learn how to ride. Like I said, you're going to have to counterweight the bike in the corners. So there's a little bit more learning curve to this bike. First of all, the whole reason why they are pushing, manufacturers are now looking at pushing these wheels up to the front, is because just doing that alone makes these much more stable bikes going in the corners. So if you've ever ridden a trike, they are very tippy, and like I said, there is a learning curve to learn how to ride them and ride them safely. These are going to be much better at doing that. Both of these bikes, this one here is going to be awesome, then this one here is going to have the learning curve. But again, if you have that knee injury or whatever, and you need this bike to support you, this bike is not going to support you. It's going to help support you when you're moving, but when you're stopped, it's not going to do anything. So if you have, say, bad knees and you can't move them as fast as you need to when you come up to a stop sign or something, and you go to put your feet down, and you know, possibly fall over or whatever. So that's the issue with these two that I can see. This one here, you're all set. You know, you sit on this thing, you can talk to your neighbor while you're sitting there or whatever you want. You can't do that. You got to put your feet down with that. So let's go on as far as the features on this. We are looking at 3 disc brakes on this bike, 3 disc brakes on this bike. They are both cable pull brakes, guys. Not hydraulic on them. You can always put hydraulic on if you want. This one, I do not believe it has a parking brake. This one does have a parking brake. Again, with the, you know, the baskets, this one comes on it, this rack comes on it. I'm not crazy about how far this comes out, but it can be taken off the bike totally. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe somewhere down the line they come out with a shorter one. Who knows? You know, these things are just coming out. Like I said, they're not out till next month. Then the accessories will start coming out. I can tell you this bike here, it comes only in this color right now. And it comes with this 10 amp hour battery. This is a 20 amp hour battery on this bike here. So this is twice the battery of this bike. They're both 48 volts. This bike here, they're claiming does 50 miles pedal assist 1. They're claiming this bike does 90 miles in pedal assist 1. But, you know, it has a lot to do too. Not only one, do you have hills? How big of a rider are you? So there's a lot of factors. Don't ever believe what you read. I look at these 2 bikes and I say in my head, this one's going to get me 25 miles, and this one here is going to get me 10 to 15 miles with this setup. You know, they're both 750 motors, like I said, so that's even on the 2 of them. They're both hub motors, and they're both rear motors. So bike itself, you know, very similar size-wise. This one's got the 20-inch tire on the back, so it makes it look a little bit different there. And almost more bikey-like than this one here. This one, I don't know, kind of almost looks more motorcycle-y the way it's set up. So this one here does not have a guard for the chain. This one does have a guard for the chain. So, you know, small little things about the bikes. All right, so another thing, guys, both these bikes are claiming they're on sale. I find that usually, you know, they're not on sale. This is what the current price is going to be. So according to Addmotor, this bike is going to go for $33.99, but you can pre-buy it now for $2,000. This bike is going to be going for $3,000, and you could currently buy it for $2,000. So this bike is actually 99 cents more than this bike is, for what it's worth. The other thing that, to me, has a big benefactor to a lot of people out there, so it's going to be a lot of older people buying these things. Like I said, kids aren't going to be buying these, so you're talking retired folks. I'm not retired yet, but I'm 3 years away from it, let's put it that way. But once you get retired, you're on a fixed income, whether or not, you know, you've had a good life and you've had a lot saved or whatever. But even, you know, I have a good 401k. I have some money in the bank. Doesn't mean I want to spend my money. So if you're offering me this bike at $181 a month, I know that figure. You know, does that go into my plans? This bike here, they're going for a little bit longer, and you can get this thing for $125 a month. So if I was somebody on a fixed income that, you know, had a spare $200 or $300 a month after expenses, this bike would be a lot more appealing to me. You're going from a 12-month to an 18-month to get this down to this figure. But I know, you know, there's a lot of seniors out there that would go for this lower price. They're both about the same as far as the financing. The financing isn't a whole lot on this when you actually look at the dollar figure of it. But anyways, enough of that. Again, this thing here, it looks like it'll have multiple colors in the future, but it's not. They're both 7-speed. I don't think I mentioned that. So we're looking at 7 speeds on these things. This one is available in green and blue. The motors, both the 750 watt, and I believe this one peaks around 1300. This one's probably about the same. Here's that seat for the extra $99 you can get. So they're saying this bike holds 300 pounds plus 80 pounds. You know, you could be up to a 300-pound rider and throw 80 pounds of accessories and cargo on this bike. 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. I know this bike is capped out about the same too. Here's it, you know, start to fold it a little bit with these tires leaning over. There's a better picture. I'm going to take you right down and show you the bike leaning here. So this is what I'm talking about when you lean in the corners. This thing's going to lean like a regular bike, where this one is not. They do have some pictures of the front end, and I'll show you the negative camber on it. And that's so Addmotor is a fixed wheel. So here's the negative camber on it, but these things are fixed. They're not going to lean over in the corners, but you are going to get stability by having these negative camber on the thing. Plus, you're already going to get that by having the turning on the front with 2 wheels. So these bikes are a lot better, and you know, than the traditional trike as far as corners. That's why I really think that these are going to catch on, and these are going to be the wave of the future. So we talked about the fact that this was a folding bike. Like I said, they're saying this bike weighs in at 104. That it can be less if you take the batteries off in the basket and so on and so forth. So the less the batteries and everything brings it down to 84 pounds. This bike here looks like a much lighter bike to me. It's got a smaller battery on it and everything. So I don't know what we're talking for weight on this bike. I'm going to guess it to be around 85 pounds, probably with the batteries on it. So here's what I was saying about the... he has pedal assist and throttle only, but he has long range and standard range. This is why I think he's going to be selling another battery for this bike. Strange that this one is double the mileage here, and it's only 10 miles more on the pedal assist, which seems strange. This one here, again, the fixed rack that's welded onto the frame. Telescoping stem that folds down. The cranks look about the same on both these bikes. They both have fenders on the front and rear. The Addmotor has 2 lights on the fenders. This only has 1 on the handlebars. The Addmotor does have directionals and a brake light and running light, I believe. So it's calling it a 5-way light. I noticed the light is listed as a 5-in-1 taillight. So I would say it has the brake light, the running light, the 2 directionals, and I have no idea what the 5th one is unless it's a flashing light or something for the day. The charger on this is a 2-amp charger, and I think it was a 2-amp charger on this bike also. Said this one's got the parking brake. You press this down, when you pull the lever back, press this down, it's going to engage the parking brake on it. Both bikes are attractive looking bikes to me. I would ride either one of these bikes. I don't know about the 630 as far as the bike leading over ability. I just, you know, I got conventional bikes. I don't. Okay, if I was going to ride this bike and lean it over and stuff, that's great. I would have fun doing that, but I would want to go more than 15 miles an hour. And the second thing being, why do I want a 3-wheeled bike to drive it like a conventional bike? I don't understand. I understand it's a transitional bike. I just don't get it. I wish they had the ability to lock out this front end or lock in the front end into this you know, stance here, where you could ride the bike slower through your neighborhood, and if you wanted to get aggressive, then you unlock this thing and it would fold either way. It'd be much more attractive to me if I could lock this front end into the way it is, like this other bike is. So here's this big rack on the front of this thing. I'm not in love with this thing, like I said, but it is bolted in, so I would just unbolt it and take it off probably for the most part. You know, but you've got it. If you were going down or had a dog carrier or something like that, it would be great. So I'm sure that's why they give it to you, and they give it to you. So that's the bonus of it. This is the bike folded down, like I said. You know, this is going to be pretty wide. They're not showing you the back of this, of how wide it is, but, you know, this is an awful lot of bike to go throwing in your car, especially at a, you know, this sitting right here with the batteries on it and everything, you're looking at 103 pounds. All right, guys, this is the end of the video here. They've got the 2 bikes up here, so you can take one last look at them. And if you got something out of this video, hit the like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.